In the heart of Vietnam's 1969 jungles, flames erupt as twin Hellfire missiles streak from an unseen shadow, shattering the earth below. Viet Cong fighters scatter in chaos amid exploding treetops, their hidden path revealed by the inferno, a silent hunter claiming first blood. It is 1969, deep in the Vietnam War's brutal embrace, where dense jungles ignite under relentless artillery and aerial assaults. American troops, weary and outnumbered, drop from creaking Huey helicopters into hostile zones, thick with enemy ambushes and unseen threats. The Viet Cong, masters of the terrain, melt into the foliage like ghosts, striking swiftly before vanishing into the impenetrable green canopy. Ground forces struggle to advance, their movements slowed by booby traps, sniper fire, and the constant dread of encirclement in the wild. But imagine altering history's course with a single anomaly. A sleek silhouette hovers beyond the smoke, defying the era's technological bounds. Enter the AH-64 Apache, a cutting-edge attack helicopter from decades ahead, thrust into the chaos of a conflict it was never designed for. Armed with laser-guided Hellfire missiles, its precision strikes capable of vaporizing armored targets from miles away in mere seconds. Thermal imaging sensors pierce the veil of night, fog, and foliage, detecting heat signatures where human eyes and older tech fail utterly. Beneath its chin, the M230 30mm chain gun tracks the pilot's gaze, unleashing devastating fire wherever the helmet's sights may wander. Heavy composite armor encases the crew, shrugging off rounds from heavy machine guns that would fell lesser aircraft in an instant. This futuristic beast promises to rewrite the rules of aerial dominance, but only if it survives the unforgiving crucible of 1969's battlefield. We bypass the paradoxes of time travel. The Apache arrives fully fueled, loaded with munitions, crewed by expert pilots from our present day. No orbital satellites guide its targeting. No drone swarms provide overwatch. No forward bases supply irreplaceable high-tech components or spares. Its 16 Hellfire missiles represent a finite arsenal. Once expended, no resupply from the future will replenish their lethal precision. Refueling at American outposts uses era-appropriate JP-4 jet fuel, compatible yet corrosive, accelerating wear on engines built for modern blends. Reloading rocket pods draws from stocks of 2.75-inch Hydra rockets, precursors to the Apache's own, sufficient for limited sorties ahead. Chain gun ammunition finds no match in Vietnam's armories. Incompatible calibers and mechanisms render resupply an impossible engineering puzzle. Maintenance looms as the greatest vulnerability. Without specialized technicians, a single fault line or rotor flaw could end its reign prematurely. Yet, in its prime, the Apache embodies aerial supremacy, a flying fortress blending speed, stealth, and surgical firepower against jungle foes. Capable of dashing at 180 miles per hour, it outpaces the lumbering Hueys, weaving through valleys and hugging tree lines with predatory grace. Hovering silently above the canopy, it unleashes volleys undetected, turning the skies from a liability into an unyielding ally for ground troops. The Vietnam theater defies conventional warfare. No static front lines carve the land, only fluid shadows of insurgency across rice paddies and rivers. Huey transports, vital for rapid insertion, roar overhead like beacons, their vulnerability exploited by hidden gunners in the underbrush. A single RPG-7 rocket, or burst from a DSHK heavy machine gun, suffices to send these workhorses spiraling into the unforgiving terrain below. North Vietnamese Army regulars and Viet Cong guerrillas shun open engagements, favoring hit-and-run tactics to erode American resolve over time. Clad in simple sandals and fatigues, they shoulder AK-47 rifles, moving light and lethal through villages that double as covert sanctuaries. Elaborate tunnel networks burrow beneath the earth, stocked with supplies and escape routes, rendering sweeps futile against their subterranean world. Booby traps dangle from branches or lie buried in mud, claiming limbs and morale with equal indifference to the invaders' might. Dawn breaks over a fog-shrouded trail where an NVA platoon advances silently, their footsteps muffled by layers of fallen leaves and damp soil. No mechanized rumble betrays them. Only the whisper of foliage and the faint clink of web gear mark their disciplined, ghostly progression. Suddenly, the canopy stirs. A low, unnatural hum slices the mist, the Apache's rotors blending with the wind like a predator's breath. Infrared scopes lock on thermal blooms, human forms outlined in ghostly white against the cool green of jungle and undergrowth alike. Two Hellfire missiles ignite trails of fire, plunging earthward to detonate amid the column, uprooting trees and scattering earth in cataclysmic blasts. Flames leap skyward, devouring vines and branches as shock waves hurl fighters into the air, their formations dissolved in acrid smoke. Before echoes fade, the 30mm tempered chain gun awakened. Its rhythmic thunder shearing trunks, stitching death through the survivors' frantic retreat. Branches splinter like matchsticks. Cries pierce the din, but the assault endures only seconds, leaving a smoldering scar on the forest floor. This is no Huey insertion, heralded by thunderous approach. The Apache strikes as a specter, denying even the dignity of a fair warning. Yet such fury demands tribute. The chain gun devours 625 rounds per minute, its 2200 round magazine vanishing in bursts of unrelenting output. Each reload tips the scales at nearly 900 pounds, a logistical nightmare in remote outposts lacking the precision munitions of later eras. Vietnam's arsenals stock no equivalents. 20mm or legacy 30mm shells mismatch the M200, one for each chamber, feed, and ballistic tolerances entirely. The rocket pods, cradling up to 38 Hydra 70 unguided warheads, fare better. Early Mk-40 variants abound, allowing sporadic resupply from base stocks. Hellfires, however, remain orphans of time, each costing over $100,000. Their 1980s laser guidance finds no kin in 1969's crude inventories. Fuel compatibility strains the frame. JP-8's stability yields to JP-4's volatility, promising accelerated turbine erosion with every tanking cycle. Ground crews, versed in piston engines and early jets, puzzle over avionics and composites, their improvised fixes risking cascade failures mid-flight. A hairline crack in a blade or glitch in the targeting suite could sideline the Apache indefinitely. Its complexity, a double-edged sword. Still, its sensors transform reconnaissance. Thermal imaging unmasks concealed patrols by body heat, piercing fog that blinds infrared predecessors. Night becomes day for the hunter. Hidden bunkers glow like beacons, their occupants exposed before they can shoulder weapons or melt away. In ambush-prone valleys, it loiters at standoff range, scanning for threats and preempting strikes with pinpoint rocket salvos from afar. Landing zones clear under its gaze. Foliage parts before chain gun sweeps, securing pads for Hueys burdened with reinforcements or evacuees. Pinned platoons summon salvation via radio. The Apache descends like judgment, its firepower extricating forces from jaws of encirclement. No prolonged exposure invites return fire. It engages, assesses, and withdraws, a fleeting arbiter reshaping the infantry's desperate calculus. The Tet Offensive's scars linger. Urban ruins smolder. Villages cycle through capture and recapture in nightly tides of guerrilla resurgence. Combat spills into agrarian heartlands, where dikes and paddies constrain maneuvers, turning every ford into a potential kill zone. Rivers wind like veins through the delta, ferrying sampans laden with arms, their banks alive with concealed observers and mortar pits. Buoys ferry essentials, ammunition crates, medical evacuees, fresh rotation. But their silhouettes draw tracers like moths to flame. NVA doctrine prioritizes attrition. Feints draw artillery. Ambushes bleed patrols. And propaganda amplifies each toll on distant shores. Light infantry excels in this milieu, slipping through undergrowth where tanks founder, their endurance forged in ideology and terrain. Tunnels honeycomb the Ku Chi district, ventilated by bamboo vents disguised as termite mounds, a subterranean empire beyond surface grasp. Traps evolve with ingenuity. Punji stakes ooze toxin, grenades dangle from vines, claymores whisper death to the unwary tread. When rotors thrum overhead, spotters signal via mirrors or flares, coordinating salvos from elevated perches or flooded spider holes. The Apache's advent disrupts this rhythm. Its quiet glide evades auditory sentries, thermal eyes stripping away the jungle's cloak. A supply caravan halts at dusk. Crates of rice and RPGs unload under moonlight. Guards posted at illusory safe distances. Sensors flare. The Apache circles unseen, mapping positions before unleashing a Hydra barrage that ignites the cache in pillars of flame. Secondary detonations ripple outward, chain reactions consuming vehicles and scattering sentries into the underbrush. Lines severed abruptly. Pursuing survivors, the chain gun tracks fleeing forms, its helmet sight precision ensuring no quarter in the heat of pursuit. Hueys, once isolated targets, now operate under escort, their descents shielded by preemptive sweeps that neutralize flanking threats. Patrols venture bolder, radios crackling with coordinates rather than pleas. The sky's guardian fostering advances once deemed suicidal. Yet ammunition's specter haunts every mission. Hellfires dwindle to single digits, each launch a irrevocable depletion of future edge. Post-sortie tallies reveal the toll. Chain gun barrels glow from friction, rocket tubes empty, demanding hazardous treks to forward depots. Mechanics improvise with era tools, patching hydraulics with wire and tape. But diagnostics elude them, breeding doubt in the hangar. The NVA, resilient adapters, dissect wreckage from near misses, sketching silhouettes for spotter cards distributed through cadre networks. Camouflage thickens. Nets draped with foliage mimic canopy. Decoy fires lure sensors. False trails bait into kill boxes overhead. Elevated blinds perch in emergent crowns. ESHK guns swathed in vines. Their 12.7mm rounds calibrated for the Apache's predictable vectors. RPG teams drill low-angle ambushes, timing bursts for hover phases, their warheads trailing smoke toward the armored underbelly. Propaganda whispers of sky demons circulate, but resolve hardens. Losses mount, yet recruitment swells in the face of mechanical terror. One dawn patrol crests a ridge, only to trigger a concealed battery. The Apache intervenes, rockets arcing to silence the barrage. Fragments rain harmlessly. Infantry presses on, morale buoyed by the certainty of unseen eyes watching over their fragile advance. Riverine convoys gain impunity, the helicopters' guns raking sampan flotillas before they can disperse into mangrove labyrinths. Tunnel entrances seal tighter, ventilation choked by fear of detection, forcing surface forays into the Apache's lethal domain. American Command integrates it tentatively. Taskings prioritize high-value interdictions, conserving sorties against the inevitable entropy of wear. No grand offensives pivot on its wings, logistics chain too frail. One rotor fault cascading into grounded obsolescence overnight. A maintenance glitch strands it earthbound for days. Patrols revert to vulnerability, underscoring the peril of singular reliance. When aloft again, it reasserts dominance, but crews sense the fragility. A talisman, not a panacea, in war's grinding machinery, so casualties dip in its sector. Ambushes preempted, extractions flawless. Medevac rates halved under its vigilant thermal sweep. Troops nickname it Ghost Reaper, tales of improbable saves circulating foxholes, forging legends from circuits and steel. For the NVA, it births paranoia. Scouts double watch horizons, movements fragment, the jungle's embrace feeling ever more precarious. Commanders ration exposures, delving deeper underground. Their hit-and-run ethos tempered by the hunter, now prowling their shadows. Yet adaptation bites back. A feigned convoy draws it low. DH-9 bursts stitching the sky, forcing evasive spirals amid warning lights. Armor holds, but the lesson lingers. Invincibility illusions shatter under sustained, opportunistic fire from terrain's unforgiving arms. Weeks grind on, munitions taper, engines whine from adulterated fuel. Each flight, a gamble against accumulating micro-frailties. A final hellfire claims a regimental HQ, maps, and radios blooming into fireballs. But the launcher stays barren thereafter. Grounded for routine checks, it never lifts again. A seized bearing, irreplaceable, seals its exile to scrapyard anonymity. The void echoes. Patrols hesitate at tree lines once cleared. Radios fall silent without promised overwatch from above. Gains evaporate. NVA resurgence fills the interregnum. Tunnels repopulate. Ambushes reclaim the initiative with renewed ferocity. One machine, for all its thunder, cannot conquer a war woven from politics, ideology, and the land's own defiant pulse. It held no territory, toppled no regimes, bridged no diplomatic chasms, merely a fleeting spike in the conflict's jagged graph. Yet in microcosm it etched change. Sectors stabilized briefly, lives spared in dozens, morale's fragile thread restrung. Soldiers recall it as watershed, a glimpse of what air power untethered might wield, seeding doctrines for deserts yet to come. For adversaries it honed vigilance, camouflage's art refined against eyes that saw through Earth's oldest deceptions. The jungle, indifferent arbiter, reclaims craters and casings, vines entwining the relic as if time's intrusion never scarred. History's tide rolls unaltered. Withdrawals loom, accords falter, but whispers persist of the sky's brief, anomalous wrath. What if one anomaly sufficed? It illuminates limits. Technology amplifies, yet human will and terrain dictate the endgame. In Vietnam's annals, the Apache joins hypotheticals. A what-if weapon, potent yet ephemeral against insurgency's patient grind. Lessons endure for tacticians. Superiority demands sustainment, not spectacle. Lone eagles falter without flocks and nests. Reflect on its arc, from phantom strike to grounded husk, mirroring war's truth. Innovation bows to entropy's inexorable claim. Troops, emboldened then bereft, carry scars and stories. The rotors hum a ghost in dreams of patrols long faded. NVA cadres, scarred by fire from nowhere, adapt doctrines. Their resilience the true victor in asymmetric shadows. Thus closes our speculation. A helicopter from tomorrow, adrift in yesterday, alters moments, but not the inexorable march. Vietnam endures as testament. Battles won on steel clash with convictions forged in earth. Unyielding to machines alone, fade to the canopy's whisper, where echoes of rotors linger. A hypothetical blade dulled by history's vast, unyielding forge.